Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Muhammad Khalil Musa. I work as teacher trainer, professor of English language and proficiency kind of assessment as well at Cairo University, Egypt, and the American University in Cairo, where I work as a teacher of academic writing and a teacher trainer to young teachers or promising teachers as well. At the same time, I've written a number of books related to IELTS. IELTS is an exam by Cambridge. And the first thing I want to tell you when I ask you to talk about your job as a teacher, that you all meet a challenge every day. What's the major challenge that you all meet on a daily basis? Can someone help me? Can someone tell me in the chat box, what is the major challenge that you meet, I meet on a daily basis when we talk with students? What do you think, guys? The major challenge is what? Number one, is it the material? I'm sorry, can you please switch off the camera? Is it the material? Do you think so? If yes, say yes, right? Yes. Is it the material? Are you challenging? Do you find any kind of challenge with the material? No. Do you find any
No,
challenge with maybe teaching techniques? No.
no,
We are
I don't
experienced.
find, yeah, I
And
don't find any challenging in the materials and the with my students, but I can find like students from different culture. They
thank you.
all not
Thank you.
EAL students, so they need more supports in English. Like
Thank
I
you very
have a
much.
students from
Where are you
Brazil
from,
and
sister? Where are you
Colombia.
from?
I'm from Pakistan,
Wow,
but
beautiful.
I'm teaching in British curriculum school in Abu Dhabi. But what is my challenge? My challenge is not to teach like no more, like no like not a street teaching. But a part of that, I can every day I have a challenge like
Thank
how
you.
to teach with EAL students, like
Yeah.
from Abu Dhabi. They are not familiar with the English language.
Thank
So
you,
this
sister.
is my everyday challenge,
And
yeah, as a
actually,
teacher.
yeah, if there is another challenge, thank you very much, sister. There is another challenge. Student motivation. Have you ever heard about student motivation? What do you mean by student motivation? Students don't want to learn, maybe because they experience so many things. Students don't want to learn because of cultural reasons, because they are the sons and daughters of very rich kind of businessmen and they don't want to learn. Number three, they are so demotivated because of unprofessional assessment by teachers. Unprofessional assessment means what? That a teacher tells a student, you are a beginner. You're not good enough. By the way, why do you pronounce that way? Oh, teacher, let me please say what I want. Please, your accent is terrible. You are a beginner. From here started the CEFR. What is the role of CEFR? And let me ask you something very important. What's CEFR? Can someone tell me CEFR? Is it an abbreviation or it's an acronym? Can you please write down in the chat box? What's an CEFR? The CEFR, is it an abbreviation or an acronym? Some of you guys say Cefr, and some of you
Aviation?
say CEFR. By the way, there is a difference between
Oh,
the abbreviation and the acronym. According to
oh,
Cambridge and according to the training that we had in Saudi Arabia with Cambridge, we usually say it's CEFR. That's how we say. So it's an abbreviation. Some people use it as a word, Cefr. And by the way, for student motivation and to be able to be objective with all the students, you cannot simply tell a student, you are a beginner, you are elementary, I think you are intermediate, I think you are advanced. I think there's nothing called I think, because by doing so, you are objective or subjective. By referring back to your experience in assessing the students, is this subjective or objective? Is this subjectivity or objectivity in assessment? Unfortunately, this is subjectivity, and this kills the students and sometimes demotivates them. And this is how CEFR started. CEFR stands for the Common European Framework of Reference. The Common European framework of reference. So every letter stands for a word. The Common European Framework of Reference is a mega project between who and who? What are the two institutes who work together to produce the standards of evaluation, the standards of language proficiency? Two institutes together. The Cambridge ESOL examination, of course, you know, Cambridge has got a mega institute department within Cambridge University, and it's called Cambridge ESOL. And according to Cambridge ESOL, worked in collaboration with the Council of Europe, الاتحاد الأوروبي, or the European Council. Both of them worked on producing a standardized way of evaluating the students. By the way, guys, let me ask you something very important. When I asked you this morning, I asked some of you to introduce yourself. Do you know why I asked you to introduce yourself? Because I want to hear your English and I want to assess you, evaluate you according to the standards, not according to me. I will not tell you, according to my experience, Ayat, you are upper intermediate. There is nothing called that. There is something called items of evaluation. We have to be professional enough. By the way, let me introduce myself. Me, name, Ahmed, family, big, good family, happy family, love them all. How do you find my level? Basic, intermediate, or advanced? Yes. Can you tell me, guys? Please write down in the chat box. Me, name, Muhammad, yes. Good family, yes, love, father, mother.
We will write down, yeah.
Yeah, father, mother, happy each other, love each other, marry, big, bring me, big boy. What do you think, man? What do you think, guys? Can you please tell me what's this kind of level? This is kind of a basic, independent, or advanced? What do you think? What do you think about this? This kind of level is what? Basic. Wow, that's really good. Next point. My name is Muhammad. I have big family. I love them all. They are good. It's still basic, but it's higher a little bit. And then we go up a little bit by saying, well, my name is Muhammad. I having a big family. I loving them all. They are really good. Kind of going to intermediate. And then if I want to speak as an advanced, how do I speak? As an advanced user will say, my name is, not my name is. He's got something in the standards of evaluation called contracted speech, contraction, and connected speech. I'm Mohammed, and I've been working as a teacher for 21 years, and I do like my job. Although, what's although? Advanced users, we don't listen or read or write only. We try to analyze everything they say into items, into standards. Although means simple sentence, compound sentence, or complex structure. Oh my God, the guy said, although, despite, in spite of, he started using complex structure. Complex structure is used by advanced, and although it's a difficult job, I still enjoy it. Oh my God, what am I doing now? I'm trying to assess the students according to standards of evaluation, according to something called the CEFR. What's the CFR? For your information, it was developed in 2001. 2001, the European Council, along with Cambridge University, divided language into how many levels? Can someone tell me? Into 6 levels. And this is something very important. 6 levels. What are the 6 levels? The poorest, the basic, me, name, Muhammad, family, big, father, mother, love, all that, A1. And then you go a little bit into A2, still basic. Okay, still basic. Guys, don't worry. I am recording this session and I'll upload it on the YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link so that you keep watching the session. Once again, A1 basic, A2 kind of elementary, and then I become better in language. I become something called not beginner, intermediate. Intermediate means B1, B2, advanced level C1, C2. And here is my question. English teachers should be placed where? Where should they be placed? What do you think, guys? Can someone tell me? I know that's a difficult question. Can you write down in the chat box? If you don't want to speak, write down in the chat box. Do you think you should be beginner level as an English teacher, A1, A2, or intermediate, B1, B2, C1, C2 for the advanced? These are the 6 levels of language. These are the 6 levels of language according to the CEFR, Al-Ittihad Al-Europi, the European Council, with Cambridge ESOL examination, produced language, divided language into 6 levels of proficiency. And here is my question. English teachers should be advanced. Which level of advanced? Because C1, he can argue, debate. C2, he's got the technical terms. He is almost a native speaker. English teachers are expected to be native speakers. C2, proficiency, wow. Expert users of language, or they should be here. They should be.
Dr. Muhammad, actually, English teachers between B1, B2, and the evidence, it's very clear. When they take the IELTS, they got 6.5.
Wow.
And they are suffering. They do not get higher than this mark.
Excellent job. Thank you, Aya. Thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry to tell you this. English teachers are not expected to be C2. C2 means native speaker. Yeah, you know what? It depends on the workplace. It depends on the workplace. In other words, at the AUC, teachers are expected to be C1, kind of advanced, not very, but still advanced, okay? However, the British Council insists that their teachers at the British Council should be between C1 and C2. But once again, can you please tell me, honestly speaking, English teachers should range between band 6 IELTS to band 8. And here is my question. What do you mean by that? We're talking about the English teacher should be between B2, which is upper intermediate, and C1. This is where English teachers should be located. By the way, I said should, not must. I said should, because according to some countries, English teachers have to be C1 advanced level. And here is my question. Since CEFR is the product of Cambridge, both Cambridge and the European Council divided the language into 6 levels. As you can see, the 6 levels are A1. What do you mean by A1 student, A1 candidate? He can barely introduce himself and basic language, basic use of language, family, love, son, daughter. A2, I can talk about junk food. I can talk about my house. I can talk about my neighborhood a little bit. B1, I can talk about more than just my world. I can talk about the society, my country. B2, this is where English teachers can use technical terms like pedagogy and learner-centered environment. And we are interacting with the students, but there is a problem of the motivation, technical terms. Until we reach the ability to understand and listen everything and interact, debate in social, academic, and professional, contexts. So this is what? This is C1, kind of proficient. And C2 is almost a native speaker. And here is my question. When I talk about language, you as English teachers, can you please tell me what are the different components of language? What are the different components of language? What is language? We have decided that we have to divide language into 6 levels. I mean, Cambridge with the European Council. But language means what? What do we look at when students speak? What do we look at when students write? What do we look at when we listen, when we read? Language, the three components of language are what? Can you please tell me what are the three components of language that make the language itself? Language is made up of three components: grammar,
Listening,
vocabulary, pronunciation. Listen to me, guys. I live in Cairo. Is it different from I reside in Cairo? Which is higher level? Number one, I live in Cairo. Number two, I reside in Cairo.
Number
Which
two.
is a higher level?
Number two, yes.
Number two.
Why
Number
did you
two.
say that? Why
It's more
did you say
advanced.
that? Simply because the word reside, this is what we say in CEFR, low frequency. Not all basic users or intermediate users know the word. So when we look at certain items of language, we can check vocabulary. Number two, what do we look at as well? Maybe we look at, can you please tell me something about your best friend? Well, I've got so many good friends, but the best one to me is Ayat because she stands by me. Someone else would say, best friend is Ayat, she is a good woman. What do you think? Who has got a higher level? The first one who said, I've got many friends, but creates compound or complex structure. Compound or complex? What do you think, guys? I'm looking at the items of language. Compound or complex? Compound or complex? But the best one is Ayat because she knows how to, yes, but is compound, but is a variety, but is a higher grammatical level. It's much more advanced than she is a good lady, she helps me, I respect her. Simple sentence, simple sentence, simple sentence. If you speak like simple, means grammatically you are A1, A2, you are simple, maybe beginning of B1, starting going up into advanced grammar. With compound and complex, we go up. So we look at grammar, we look at vocabulary. And I'm sorry to say this. Hello, my friend, how are you doing? Can you please switch off the camera? It's a pleasure seeing you, but please switch off the camera. Once again, guys, number three, and this is very important. What do we look at as well? Grammar, vocabulary of the student, and number three, pronunciation. Do you think pronunciation makes a difference when we look at the different levels of students? Do you think the pronunciation of A1, A2 is different from the basic user, is different from the independent, which is B1, B2, is different from the proficiency, C1, C2? Do you think the pronunciation is different? What's the major item in pronunciation and the major feature? Listen to me. I am Muhammad. I come from the Arab world. I like all people around the world and I respect all cultures. I hope you accept me too. And by the way, if you need any help, please let me know. And you can contact me even after the session. If I speak like this with you guys during the session now, what would you do? Number one, leave the Zoom meeting saying, holy God, the guy's English is terrible. How come he's an English teacher? Or continue, write down. One, if I speak like this, I am from Egypt, I'm a professor of English. If you need any help, you can contact me. One, leave the meeting. Number two, continue. What do you think? Can someone tell me if I'm going to look at the pronunciation? Well, I'm an English teacher from Egypt. I'm a professor. If you need any help, you can contact me after that. And I know this is a challenge, but after all, you are all my colleagues. Are you going to leave the meeting? Thank you very much indeed. When it comes to CEFR,
sir,
when it comes to CEFR, we look at every item of language. Grammar with the variety and the accuracy. The vocabulary. Is it simple vocabulary or low frequency? And number three, pronunciation. And what matters the most is that your pronunciation is intelligible. Have you ever heard about the word intelligible? Intelligible means despite the interference of the first language, I still understand him. It's totally different from someone who is a basic user or even independent, because there are 3 levels in the CFR: basic, intermediate, basic, independent, proficient, and you do not understand his English. So I can say, for example, what is your dream destination? Well, I want to go to Belgium. What's Belgium? I don't understand. What's Belgium? Belgium, Europe. A country in Europe. I'm sorry, I don't understand you. Belgium. If your pronunciation is a hindrance in the process of communication, then you are going down the level according to CFR. CFR looks at the different components of language when a student speaks, writes, or receives language. And by the way, once again, what are the 4 levels? What are the 4 skills of language? Can someone tell me what are the 4 skills of language? Because these are basic information. This is kind of a basic information for everyone. What are the 4 skills of language? We've got the speaking, writing, listening, and reading. And my question is, if we have 6 levels in the CEFR, starting for beginner, basic user, and then the basic, the intermediate, and the advanced, how many hours do students need to go up the levels of the CEFR? How many? Can someone tell me how many hours does a student need to go up from the basic user, the basic, to the independent or the intermediate? How many hours do you need as an English teacher to go from the independent into the proficiency? How many hours do you need?
By the way, this question had been given in the previous years, in the previous exams.
100 hours to 800.
Okay. Always remember something, guys. Whenever I ask any question or whenever you want to do anything related to CFR, always remember the official website of Cambridge ESOL examination. And according to this website, they found out something quite surprising when someone asked that question. They said something which is not very promising to many of our students. They said the number of hours differs according to certain criteria. So, okay, we've got 6 levels, we've got a number of hours that you can take, but still there is a variation. Still, it depends on certain factors. So if you are a kind of starters, if you want to be A1, you have to study 90 hours to be 91. You need how many hours of listening, speaking, writing, reading, the 4 skills of language to focus on the grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and the items. You may need about 1,000 to 1,200 hours to reach the proficiency, which is C2, the highest level as a native speaker. Once again, I'm sorry to say this, whoever asks you as a student, and you are a professional English teacher, and someone asks you, as according to the CFR, we've got 6 levels, how many hours do I need? How many hours do I need? You tell him, okay, let me ask you some questions first, because this number, this set, or this table is not 100% standardized. And according to Cambridge, if you want to go up in the ladder and the hierarchy of the CFR, you've got to, number 1, the intensity of your study. How many hours are you going to study on a daily basis? Maybe, yeah, I would do my best. Yeah, 20 minutes every day. Oh, and you find the students, especially Arab students, are so motivated and they speak more than they do, you know. And of course, actions speak louder than words. So after saying, I promise you I'll do it, and then 1 hour a day, then 1 hour a week, then actually you may need 3-4 years. According to the CFR, I'm sorry to say this, I know it's quite embarrassing, but age can be a component, according to Cambridge, in determining. Can someone explain to me what do you mean by age? That sometimes with your maybe getting older, with a lot of stress, a lot of examination for English teachers in the UAE, you feel that your memory is doing what? Your memory is going down. So if I ask you, I'll put more pressure on you, and I'll ask you every day, you have to read. Summarize what you read and write. Listen and then speak. If I ask you to do the 4 skills and you tell me, man, I'm sorry, bro, I'm 45 with lots of pressure and lots of things. Yeah. So when someone is kind of carefree with less responsibilities, this helps in the process of learning and going up the CFR and exposure outside lesson time. And that's why Egyptian students and the Arab students I met with IELTS, and they came to me band 5, which is between B1 and B2, and they want to go to C1. Students in the UAE get higher and higher in the band much faster than Egyptians in Egypt, because in the UAE, they are exposed to what? It's a cosmopolitan city, and they're exposed to a diversity of cultures, diversity of nationalities, and this helps them to be exposed to kind of language on a daily basis. So it depends on the age, it depends on the school background, it depends where you're from, it depends on the age. Yes, we've got all this. And by the way, if we talk about CEFR, we've got to talk about something else. I'm sorry to say this question. CEFR is Cambridge, and IELTS is based on CEFR. Guys, do you know that nowadays, most of the important exams are based on the CEFR, based on the Common European Framework of Reference? It's a reference for all examinations. It has become a reference set by the European in collaboration with Cambridge ESOL examination and CEFR. According to CEFR, there are so many exams. Can someone tell me an example of certain exams that are based on the CEFR? Can someone tell me? Can someone please tell me what are the exams that are based on the CEFR? So many, but mainly what? IELTS, which is the most popular in the world for immigration academic purposes. We've got also TOEFL, and even, have you heard about the Duolingo exam, which is now acknowledged by Dubai, UAE, and the USA? It's an American exam. So many exams, even Pearson test exam, PTE, all these exams are based on the CEFR. Can you please explain to me what they mean by IELTS CEFR? Listen to me, guys. I am band 4. So next to band 4 in IELTS, we say you are B1. And then no, I am band 5.5, B2. If you are an English teacher, you are expected to be, as an English teacher, between 6.5 and 7.5. As I told you, you're expected to be between B1 and B2, okay? And here is the thing. Can someone tell me what's the difference between the writing of B2 and the writing of C1? Can you guess what could be the difference? CEFR is good. CEFR, yeah, it divides the language. But listen to this. When we talk about CEFR and the IELTS and the TOEFL and the dividing and the breaking down of points, we look at the speaking, writing, listening, and reading. However, I believe that the genius of the CEFR, the beautiful thing, the stunning thing about the CEFR lies in the evaluation of speaking and writing. Listen to me, guys. Listen to me. Before I move on to writing, let me show you a video, and I want you to tell me, what do you think about someone like this? This lady is, this lady is from a beautiful country that everybody likes, which is India. And this lady has got an Indian accent. When we listen to this lady, I want all of you to guess, is she basic A1, A2? is she independent, B1, B2? Or number 3, is she proficient user of language, C1, C2? I would just leave you for 1 minute. Listen to her.
Which is the capital of Andhra Pradesh in the south.
Is her voice clear? Guys, can you listen? Is the voice clear?
Yes, it's clear. Yes, we can hear it.
It is a very big city. About 7 million people live there. And is it an interesting place to live? Oh yes, a very interesting place to live. Hyderabad has a very long history. So there are lots of ancient forts.
Wait, has she got pauses? And I think, has she got pauses? Yes, no. Please, I need one of you to answer me. Has she got pauses?
No, definitely no.
No.
Definitely no. No hesitation, yeah.
Mosques and other monuments. There is a very beautiful lake. And
number 2, is she providing a variety of sentences that, yeah, there is a mosque and it's been,
Yes.
Is she providing a variety of tenses, variety of grammar or not? Yes.
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 And will you live in Hyderabad in the future? Yes, I think once I finish my studies here, I'll go back to Hyderabad. My husband is from Hyderabad too, so I think.
Is she using connectors? Are her words connected? All the sentences connected? My husband is from Hyderabad, so we'll go back to the city. Is she using connectors?
Yes. Conjunction, connected.
Wow, there is coherence. Okay, that's beautiful.
We'll stay there. Now let's talk about hobbies and interests. What hobbies and interests are popular in your country? In my country, I think the most popular these days are things like gardening and do-it-yourself.
Last thing, what do you think about her pronunciation? Do you think her native language, Hindi or Urdu, do you think her native language affects the process of communication? Hello?
Yes, the way of her dialect, yeah.
Well, usually make things for their
Do you still understand her or not?
Yes.
Do you still understand her or not? Please answer me.
I think
Yes.
Yes, we understand.
Please,
Okay. I'm sorry to tell you this. Can you please guess what's her band? What's her level in the CFR? What's her band? Do you think she is basic, independent, or proficient? Do you think she is A1, A2 basic, or B1, B2, or is she an expert user, C1, C2? What band do you think? I'm sorry to say she is band. She is band. She is band.
Band 9.
C2.
1 or
She
C2.
is between C1 and C2. Oh my God, that's really strange. How come is that? What did you look at? We looked at her pronunciation, the coherence, her language, her grammar, her vocabulary, the pronunciation, her fluency, no hesitation. We look at different things. And this is how CEFR has turned language from a creative expression of ideas into a science. CEFR, the purpose of it is to provide an objective evaluation of language, turning language into a science like biology and chemistry. Every word you say means something to the examiner. Every word you write as well. Sorry to tell you this question. I'm sorry to tell you that. Do you know anything? Do you know a word called rubric? Have you ever come across the word rubric?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the rubric? Rubric means what? Can someone tell me a rubric is what? A rubric, according to the CFR.
It's a tool of evaluation.
Yeah. The rubric in the CFR is simply the elements of evaluation that we use to be objective, to use a checklist of evaluation. If you want to check the CEFR and writing, let me tell you. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I hear. So once again, sorry to tell you this. But when we talk about writing, we look at 4 major things. In speaking, we look at coherence, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. But in writing, we look at different things. Number 1, does the student have solid ideas with examples? Does he organize his writing in a kind of a cohesive way? Number 3, does he provide accurate grammar and a variety of grammar? Number 4, what about the vocabulary? Once again, remember, when we look at writing in terms of CFR, we don't only look at grammar and vocabulary, we look at the content, how it's organized, how it's written in a paragraph or an essay form. Before I get deeply into writing, I want to say this. This has been an example by Cambridge about writing and CEFR. I don't know, can someone tell me what's the difference? I want to give you a kind of a 1-minute observation to tell me the difference of 6 different students representing 6 levels. Looking at this picture was given to 6 students of 6 different levels, and the 6 students produced 6 different sentences according to the levels of the CEFR. So the boy and the girl playing with the cat, and we have A1. A1 means what? Basic. The first A1, A2, basic. The cat is not playing. A2. Maybe let's try to move more. You see, he's looking at something else. B1, let me try. He will play more if we wiggle the string. Do you feel there is a difference between this level in terms of vocabulary and this person? Which word in B1 that makes it more advanced? Have you noticed any word? Have you noticed any word when it comes to vocabulary? Have you noticed anything in the writing? What's the word that we can, please write down in the chat if you like. The word what? Wiggle the string. This is, wiggle the string. This is a higher level of vocabulary. B2, have you noticed something related to vocabulary and grammar of the B2 student? The B2 student is what? When we were at school, you should have bought the other cat wand. There was more movement, so he'd have liked it more. What do you think about this? When we look at the items of writing and CFR, we'll find something very strange. What kind of sentence is this, grammatically speaking? Grammatically speaking, is this simple, like this one, or maybe this one? Is this a kind of 2 simple sentences, maybe this one? Or is this a complex sentence? Excellent.
Complex sentences,
the more you go up,
subordinate clauses.
Thank you. The more you go up with the level of writing, you'll find that the grammar is getting advanced, the vocabulary is becoming advanced, the way the content itself and ideas are becoming solid and organized, and most importantly, ideas are connected, which we call cohesion and coherence. When we were at the store, you should have brought, oh my God, complex, use of modal verbs. Okay, there's a variety of tenses, that's really good. However, C1, going up with the vocabulary. Let's ponder some of the factors. What do you mean by the word ponder? Do you think a basic user or independent would be like a proficient user? The proficient user is saying something else, like, let's ponder. Ponder means what? Do you know the word ponder? Do you know the word ponder or not? Hello, can someone tell me? Hello, can someone tell me what do you mean by the word ponder? Hello, yeah, yeah. What do you think about this? CFR.
Think or contemplate. Think or contemplate, I think.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. So we're talking about let's ponder, let's meditate upon, let's think seriously about the factors, and then C2, expert, the proficient, the highest level, complex structure with a lot of advanced vocabulary. Let me go into depth when it comes, you see, kinetic force, lethargy. Do you know the word lethargy or not? Guys, I know it's Friday. I know it's Yom al-Jum'ah. I know that you are in lethargy. I know that quite well. I know that you don't want to answer me because most of you are lethargy. What do you mean by the word lethargy? Lethargy. Does it mean it's active? Does it mean you're active? Does it mean you're active? No. Lethargy means what? Sleepy or active? It means inactive, sleepy. Thank you very much. Kind of drowsy a little bit. No action whatsoever. And that's why let's move on to something really very detailed when we talk about CFR and the 6 levels according to writing. Welcome to one of the most beautiful division. And actually, yes, which is called what? And by the way, before I move on, this is a very nice gift that I'd like to give to all of you. I want you in secret, in private, to check your level of vocabulary and grammar, you as a teacher, by visiting this website. This website is the production of the Common European Framework with Cambridge ESOL, and the website is called English Profile Word List. And this website, please, I'll put it now in the chat box. For the first time, you can check your level of vocabulary. Is your level of vocabulary and grammar advanced, intermediate, or basic? By simply doing what? By simply going here, and then you go to, you will find something called Text Inspector, and this is something quite interesting. Write any text, and after writing the text, you see, copy and paste. After writing the text, if you say, I would love to meet various cultures, CEFR and writing has divided language and writing into content, language, vocabulary, grammar, cohesion and coherence. However, this website is mainly for vocabulary. I would love to meet various cultures, and I aspire to visit Dubai. If you go like this and check, you'll find something quite interesting, which is dividing your vocabulary according to the different standards and levels of CEFR. And they will tell you, sorry, man, I know you're an English teacher, but 63% of your language is basic, which is A1. And they will sometimes, they will even tell you something like, oh my God, what are the words? What's the vocabulary related under A1? A2, various, okay? B1 is cultures, and you've got only one word, which is C2, which is called aspire to. You know, what does this mean? That if you want to check the level of vocabulary of your writing, which dictionary are you going to consult? What is the best dictionary that can tell you this word is A1, A2, B1, B2? What is it? Can someone tell me before we move on? Yeah, what do you think, Ibrahim? Thank you very much. What do you think, guys? What's the best ever dictionary coming from CEFR, dividing vocabulary in
Cambridge Learner's Dictionary, I think.
Thank you.
Welcome.
One of the best is Cambridge Dictionary. Cambridge Dictionary as well. Cambridge Dictionary online will divide vocabulary. You know why? Because Cambridge was the major institute working on CEFR, and because Cambridge produced something quite interesting called IELTS. And when we talk about writing and CEFR, we have to talk about writing in IELTS because it's based on what Cambridge is saying and dividing language. I want you to look at this. What do we call this? What do we call this grade? We call this grade band descriptors or rubric. And by the way, when we talk about writing, we divide writing into content, task achievement, cohesion and coherence, how you logically organize your ideas. Ideas are connected. Lexical resources. This is how Cambridge and ESOL examination, which is in charge of CEFR, termed the word or coined the term lexical resources to refer to vocabulary. Listen to this, guys. I want you to read this. Writing also means grammatical range and accuracy. And once again, if you want to be a kind of a C2, we're talking about 8 and 9. If you want to be C1, we're talking about 7 and 8. And going up, that's B2 in CEFR. Here is the thing. What do we look at in detail? The most important thing is, do students understand the topic or not? So if I'm going to write points for you when it comes to writing and CFR, what are the elements of evaluation that we into consideration? Number one, content. Can someone tell me what are the points that we can mention on the content? Can you please help me? I want you guys to help me. Please tell me what are the points that can be placed under the word content. Number one, I'll help you with the first one. Covering the topic or not. Does the student understand the topic or not? So the question is, you find the question in the exam, talk about your family, and he's talking about something else like my favorite toy or I love eating fruits. So does he understand the topic or not? Number two, what else? What else do we talk about content? Number two, that when you write any idea, you have to develop the idea and support the idea with what? With what, guys?
Evidences and examples. Evidences and examples.
Explanation and examples. So, yes. I'm sorry, what is the major problem you face on a daily basis? Many problems I face. I go to work late. You did not explain why. Because of traffic congestion. For example, here in Dubai, we may spend 2 to 3 hours every day before we go to work. Very specific examples, explanation, covering the topic. What else? We look at something called organization of writing. Organization, or sometimes we say cohesion and coherence. Does the student use connectors or not? Or the student's sentences and writing are not connected at all? They're not connected. Number two, are the ideas, there is a logical sequence of ideas or not? What do you mean by logical sequence? Can someone tell me? Means, are the sentence, when it comes semantically speaking, meaning on the level of ideas, are they related or they're not related? Something like, a problem is traffic jam, my manager is not happy, I have problems at home, family problems, I don't get a good salary. Sentences are not logically sequenced. There are not enough connectors. By the way, what do we call connected? There is another technical term that we say cohesive devices. Cohesive devices. And by the way, when we talk about writing, does the student know the structure of writing or not? Can someone tell me what do you mean by structure of writing? What do you mean by structure of writing? Please write in a paragraph form. So as a student, I know there's something called the topic sentence, which relates to, which leads to the contents and supporting sentences and concluding sentences. Do I know that there is something called an essay with an introduction, with a body paragraph, with a conclusion? Number three, when we talk about writing and CFR, we look at what? We look at something very important called grammatical accuracy and range. So are the sentences produced by students correct, or there are fatal mistakes? And by the way, in IELTS, I was able to outline 30 fatal mistakes that can take you down to level B1. And the major mistake is subject-verb agreement. Of course, all of you, as my colleagues, have heard about this kind of mistake, which is a fatal mistake. When the students repeat saying, there is problems. Yeah, my friend have. He is mixing singular and plural. He's not quite sure about the singular and plural verbs. These mistakes, the accuracy, he's not sure about tenses. Or sometimes I have coined a word based on my reading about Cambridge writing evaluation, according to the CFR. If the students are confused or mix up with pasta, they lose a lot of marks. Can someone guess what's the acronym PASTA? What does the acronym PASTA stand for? What does the acronym PASTA stand for? PASTA stands for what? Number 1 in writing, punctuation, spelling mistakes. Number T, the tenses. Number A, the articles, A and the basic things. And next point, when we look at writing with the CFR, we're looking at grammatical range. Can someone tell me what's grammatical range? So if I am a beginner, I will use what kind of sentence? Can someone tell me? For A1 and A2, they don't produce sentences, they produce words.
Chunks. Oh, words. I thought chunks. Yeah.
Words, phrases, chunks, very short. When we talk about B1, he started to use what? Kind of a 4.55 simple sentences with many mistakes in grammar. However, when we go up to B2, band 6, 6.5, we find something very strange. Simple and compound sentences, still with not many mistakes, few mistakes, until we reach something like band 7.5 or 7 writing, 7.5 C1. What does it mean, band 7 IELTS writing or C1? It means in the writing of the students, he's using complex sentences, plus very few and rare errors. Rare errors, by the way, according to the CFR, the advanced user is the proficient user has got a variety of complex. And this is something quite interesting. There is no one type of complex structure. There are so many types of complex. One of the types is if. Does the student use the structure if? If is one of the if conditional, comes under the complex. The subordinate clause, the independent dependent clauses, while, when, another type. Relative clauses, noun clauses with that, I believe that. Relative clauses. Can you imagine that according to the CFR, there is something called the anatomy of language? We are dissecting grammar into items, dissecting vocabulary, connectors, in order to look at language objectively as science. Then you can guess C2, 7.5, 8, 8.5, I'm sorry, 8, 8.59 IELTS. C2 is what? In writing, it means he's using not only complex, variety of grammatical structures, simple, compound, complex, relative clauses, passive voice. Have you ever heard about cleft sentences? Have you ever heard about the cleft structure or not? The cleft starts with whatever people do, what people can do, whenever, wherever, all these expressions using what, when, where, whoever, cleft clauses. Is providing a variety. When we talk about writing and CFR, we look at so many things. We look at content, organization, grammatical range, and the last thing is vocabulary or lexical resources. Can someone guess what I mean by vocabulary? If the word is frequent, frequently known to everyone, boy, girl, basic, this is what? This is A1, A2. Can someone tell me, If I use less frequency, and this is how they phrased it with Cambridge examination and CFR. The student uses less frequency vocabulary. They did not say advanced, they say less frequency. What do you mean by less frequency? Example, if I say different, different is a word that many people know. However, if I say the word diverse, is it different or not? Hello? Is it different? Do you think there's a difference when it comes to
Yes,
vocabulary?
different.
Of course.
Different, of course.
Yeah. And guys,
Diversity.
I'm really sorry. We have so many problems. We've got a plethora of issues. Of course, it's different. And that's why the very highest level of students, not only less frequency, but also technical terms and academic expressions. Academic expressions and technical terms. So once again, if we look at CFR and writing, how can you tell that the student is a beginner or what? Huh? What do you think, guys? Can someone tell me? Can someone tell me? Because I can see that people are locked and people are telling me we've got Friday prayers. I'll wind up the session in 2 minutes, but I want to ask everyone, how can you tell if the student writing is A1, A2, or B1, A1 basic, or independent, or proficient? Can someone tell me? We're going to look at what? What do you think? We're going to look at what? Do you think length matters? طول الجملة, طول الparagraph. Do you think the length and the number of words matters or not? Number one, yes. Because if I give you a topic and you write only 2 to 3 words, you are basic, A1, A2. If you write simple sentences all across with only one compound structure, this means you are kind of B1, B2. However, if you're providing a lengthy paragraph with almost no grammatical mistakes, and they are connected sentences, and at the same time variety of vocabulary, then this means you are what? This means you are the proficient, using technical, less frequency, grammatical vocabulary, content, examples, sentences, connectors, and no spelling mistakes. And by the way, one last thing. I want all of you guys to aspire and wish to reach a band 7 in IELTS writing, to be a kind of a C1 in writing by presenting the idea, supporting the ideas. You give the idea, you give an explanation, an example. You use connectors, but without overusing connectors. You know the structure and the organization of ideas. You know quite well that with vocabulary, we've got less common or less frequency kind of vocabulary, and no spelling mistakes. And you know the word formation and the word choice. And you've got something called the flexibility of vocabulary. You know, what does it mean, flexibility of vocabulary? Students of band 7 do not repeat the same words. If you find in the writing tomorrow, if they give you samples of writing and you find the student repeating the same vocabulary, this will take him down into vocabulary of level B2 or B1. Where the spelling mistakes, more spelling mistakes means that you are B1. And then with the grammatical range, band 7 is a variety of complex. You are a C1. Band 8, you are C2, wide range of structure. And don't forget, punctuation marks are killing. Don't forget, grammatical mistakes. However, if you want to check the basic user means what? A1, A2. You'll find something really surprising, that when you go down, you'll find no organization. I don't understand him. He only writes simple words, a very limited range of vocabulary. Sentences are not connected. He does not organize the vocabulary, A1, A2. All this, all 4 bands, that's A1, A2. And there are ideas, but not coherent. Very limited control of vocabulary because the student repeats himself. Once again, thank you very much once again. It's been a pleasure because someone is telling me 1 hour, we have finished the first, this hour of this kind of orientation or kind of induction related to CEFR. Once again, I really appreciate meeting you all, guys. I appreciate your presence and attendance. And I would like to thank our sister Ayet for inviting me to be with you guys. Once again, I wish you all the best.
Our director.
Ayet told me about all this just yesterday.
Yes.
So I wished we had more time to meet 2-3 sessions. Maybe I would have provided you with texts and you tell me what you guess. Maybe we could have done that. However, because of the very short notice, I was just informed yesterday. However, let me tell you something. If you're still worried, if you're not, if you need anything, please, once again, we're all colleagues. If you need any help, this is my WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp me anytime you like. So this is my WhatsApp number, 002-01-000-190-890. You can WhatsApp me anytime you like. If you have questions, please do your best and God will do the rest. And don't forget, yeah, thank you very much indeed. And I want to tell you, because I can see people, they're still joining the session. If you ever need any help, these are the major websites. English profile, I will send it to you as well, guys, with this Word file. I'll send everything with this session recorded to Ayet, so that Ayet would forward all this to all of you. I would actually send, of course, you know, all this rubric and how many hours do you need to go up. And once again, this is my official page, Englivision. This is the academic institute that I'm running with my colleagues. Thank God we've got 132 teachers in this institute working in the field of language learning for adults and young learners as well, going through the different levels of the CFR. And the major challenge we meet on a daily basis is students who are not motivated enough, because one teacher, unprofessional teacher, gave them or gave him, that student, an unprofessional assessment based on subjectivity, not based on CFR. Thank you once again for listening, and I wish you all the best in your future. Thank you once again, all of you. God bless you all. I'll
thank you. We are so delighted to join your session today.
If you need any help, let me know, guys. Thank you once again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.